Okay, I got a couple of hot tips today. Honestly, a lot of us vintage amp guys probably do not like to give away our tube tips because they're getting rare and they're hard to find and they're getting expensive. But I'm not going to be around here forever, so might as well help you guys out. But I learned something here recently too. I was kind of shocked. I knew I liked the 57, 51 and the Tweed Bassman, the vintage Tweed Bassman. Here's some tubes I gotta see. And I like it better than the 6072, which is low noise 12AY7. The amp calls for a 12AY7, which is low mu, I guess 40 times amplification. A 12AX7 is 100 times, and a 5751 is a low noise, low mu, which is an amplification factor. I think it's around 70. So it's kind of a compromise between a 12AY or in the middle of a 12AY and a 12AX. And I think they sound really good. One of my subscribers gave me the tip years ago. So I like 5751s in those. So I tried one and I've been using them ever since. But what I found out was that there is a difference in sound, a big difference in tone. And I'm going to give you a hot tip. Anybody that has these Tweed Bassman amps, the vintage ones, you're going to notice a difference. And I did. What happened was I had this tube, and you can see it's 5751. I hope you can see that. It's right there, and you'll notice it's black plate. And I had that in the 1960 Bassman that you hear all the time, and it sounds great. I didn't think much of it. And I'd also, a while back, a year or so ago, I bought this Sylvania 5751. Not sure what year this was made, but they're probably all in the 60s or 50s. One of my tube experts told me that this was probably early to mid 50s, and they didn't make, RCA did not make these, and they were one of the last manufacturers to make black plate 5751s in the early 60s. I'm assuming he knows what he's talking about. But this is probably mid 50s. And I guess the one thing is these are very expensive compared to new tubes. This, I originally paid $80 for this, I think. Well, no, the new one that I just bought, I paid $80. I actually paid $90 for another one for just a backup. The good thing is these things last for years. I mean, this thing will probably last the rest of my life, or at least 5 or 10 years, depending on how much you play them. So they're worth it. But the sound is what makes it worth it. But here's what you have to do. You have to make sure you get, I learned this the hard way, you have to get the triple mica tube, because that makes them lower in microphonics. And when you do shop for tubes, make sure you specify or ask, have you tested this for noise? Is it microphonic? The microphonics in these things will kill the tube. I mean, they're useless. The tube vibrates so much in the amp it makes all kinds of weird noises. But that's why at first I bought a couple of just double micas with just this one and not this third one right here. And you see this one has the extra third. These are double micas, but two stacked on top of each other, and it's got this extra one up there. That kind of cuts down on any vibration inside the tube. And so you have to get the triple micas if you want one that's low noise. Now this tube is dead silent. This is RCA. The RCA black plate's what you want. This is a Sylvania gray plate, and I'm telling you, it does not sound near as good as this. This thing just has the tone for some reason. And even one of my tube experts says, yes, it's a completely different sounding tube. I thought they would be fairly close. So that's what you want. In V1, you put it in your first position, it'll definitely help your tone on those Bassman amps. I mean, my new 59 Bassman was sounding pretty good. I'd put this in there, and then I had one of these in the 60, so I took it out. I swapped the tubes is what I did. And I noticed how much better the 59 was sounding, so I bought a new tube on eBay, which is risky, but I found a good seller, and he guaranteed everything. And it sounds great, even though it was actually a little bit more microphonic than the one I already had. The other one, the one I had in the 60, was dead quiet. This one has a little bit of ring to it, but it doesn't affect it when you're playing. So, you want the triple mica non-microphonic, which you have to have them guarantee that it's not microphonic. Some tube sellers have a way to test them. Like if you go on Brent Jesse's recording studio website, he has a video on his website that shows how he tests for noise, and it's exactly what you need to have done to your tube before you buy it. But like I said, they're expensive. If you're lucky, you might find it for $60, but most of them are going for about $80. But for tone, it's worth it. Okay, second tip. That was a long-winded tip there. Second tip is I don't know if you guys know, but I have most of you know I bought this left-handed Nash guitar, and I've adjusted to playing a left-handed guitar, and it sounds really good. I mean, I'm glad I bought it. It's a great guitar. But I had a problem with my, I've got this fancy Divine Noise white coily cable with these real heavy-duty plugs on the end. So I've got a straight on one end and a 90 on the other. Well, look what happens first. This is just for left-handed guitars, but I know you guys, there's a lot of you out there that have them. And you stick that in there, it sticks up a lot. So it hits my arm, and it really bugs me. It makes me play differently. I can't play correctly. So even this one, the 90 degree, it's so heavy-duty that it sticks out. It's almost worse. It sticks out like that, and it hits my arm. So I called the owner of Divine Noise, and asked him if he had a low-profile plug, like the old-style plugs that Jimmy used. Because if you look at Jimmy's videos, especially Woodstock, you notice his plug is just one of those little cheap type, and his cord's real soft, and it just hangs right off of the jack, so it doesn't get in his way. Well, he didn't have any other type of plug that he could use, so I decided to hunt around, and this is one thing I'm really good at. It's doing everything myself. I'm going to take this off for a second. Okay. Whoa. If you look at my board, you see all those 90 degree plugs right there. Those are all lava cable 90 degree solderless plugs. They work great. I recommend those. I think I kind of like the George L's better, but these are good for the board, and they're easy to make whichever length you want. They give you a kit that you can buy. Anyway, I had one of those extra 90 degree plugs. So this is what I did. I found an old cable, which this is an Italian made cable, which is actually pretty good, cheap and good. Forgot the name, Proel. You guys probably heard me talk about that when I was preaching about not spending a lot of money on expensive cables. And I took the solderless connection from my lava cord, and you have to have a fairly thin cord for it to fit in there. And I just gave it a shot, shoved it in there, fix it like I would normally. It doesn't quite, even this one doesn't go in there good, but it's held up. I've been yanking it in and out of my jack quite a bit, and it hasn't pulled out or anything. I mean, there's no solder, so you would think it could just pull right out, but it's pretty solid. But the good thing is look at this. It's about as low profile as you can get. I mean, that thing hangs down. It never will hit your arm. I mean, it's pretty much flat. And it works really good. So, if you want to get just one cable, or I think he sells just the plugs. Give it a shot if you're having problems with this thing bugging your arm. That's it. I hope this helps. The tube tip is a definite hot tip. Just don't drive the tube prices up too much on me, because I need more. Thank you.